Hey, it's your girl, your favorite paralegal, aka Cassandra Lynn, and welcome to Legal Doc Talk 24/7. I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Mr. Diddy. So we know that he was arrested on September 16th. The indictment was actually filed on um, what was that, September the 12th. And he since then has tried to bail out or bond out, and both of the bond hearings, his request was denied. I think he recently filed an appeal a couple of days ago, so I'm just trying to see exactly when there's going to be another hearing. But it doesn't look like your boy is going to be chillaxing with a ankle monitor in his Miami home. I don't think that's going to work out, but I did want to talk about Diddy, as well as the alleged 120 plus cases that is pending, that will be filed soon. And I do want to discuss Mr. Tony Buzbee, who is a personal injury attorney here in Texas. So let's hop right on into it. Oh, and the most important, there is a new case that has not been accepted by the court just yet, but they just have to make sure that the filing is um is okay before they accept it, okay? But we're going to go over that. We're going to go over that. So let's hop right on into it. So I believe it was yesterday or a couple of days ago. Everybody's seen Mr. Busby do the little press conference. I said little, the press conference, just kind of speaking on the Diddy indictment and the alleged victims that he will be representing um, in the near future. It has been a lot of talk, talking about, oh, he's just wanting money and, this and that and all this other stuff. A lot of people do not realize the difference between a trial attorney and a litigation attorney. And it's crazy because me and one of the attorneys that I contract with was discussing it. And he's the one that actually informed me. He's like, there is a big difference between a litigation attorney and a trial attorney. A trial attorney has experience in court, a litigation attorney does not. Why is that? If you have seen my video about, I think I explained the difference between civil litigation and criminal litigation. That kind of gives you a foundation of where to start. But for litigation, you can litigate a case before it hits trial. Okay. That means you file the petition, you get the party served, you go through discovery, you do depositions, and then you have mediation. Okay. If nothing pans out in mediation, then you go to trial. Okay. There have been some attorneys that has never stepped in the courtroom. Okay, so that is the difference between a litigation attorney and a trial attorney. So, Mr. Anthony Busby, aka Tony Buzbee, he is a trial attorney. He goes to court, he tries cases. Okay, he doesn't just sit in his office and, do paperwork all day. I'm pretty sure he does, but he preps for trial. That's what he does. His firm, it says Texas Trial Attorney. Now I'm gonna kind of go over there so you can see. So here are the attorneys. They're in Texas. They have a office in Houston, I believe. Did I even look to see? I don't even think I looked to see exactly where. I did see it, but I can't remember where it's at. Um, so these are his current clients. These are cases that they're working on trademark infringement, breach of contract, collapse of the Parker 4J offshore drilling rig, products liability, government regulation, negligence, personal injury, offshore death, class action, toxic tort, criminal defense, multi district litigation. Client 7,000 individuals from Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana. So they are working across the nation. They handle PI, burn injuries, workplace injuries, civil litigation. That includes Texas environmental and toxic torts, Texas gender discrimination, mass torts, products liability, Texas white collar crimes. All right. This is what he does. So this is not somebody who is looking for any type of clout. People should, and I've been seeing that a lot. I was like, nah, he's not looking for clout. He got a pretty good legal team. He got a pretty good legal team. Um, so if you ever want to go on here, you can just kind of look and see what's going on with his firm and get more information. He had a role in Kim Paxton's impeachment trial. Y'all didn't watch that. A lot of people don't even know who King Paxton is. He is actually state of Texas Attorney General. Okay. So these are some of the cases that he has pretty much worked with. Oh, big one. Astro World. Victim's family settles lawsuit against rapper Travis Scott and Live Nation. Okay. So Buzbee, his firm actually was the plaintiff's representatives. Okay. Also, I spoke on this last night. Busby is also representing the lawsuit against Chris Brown and Yellow BZ and Live Nation for the incident that took place in Fort Worth at the Dickies Arena. Okay, so this man is not somebody new. Okay, now I do want to go over to his Instagram and show you guys the press release that he put out regarding the Diddy situation. Let's see. So here it says the Busby Law Firm and the AVA Law Group will hold a press conference on Tuesday, which already happened. At the press conference, information will be made available for the first time to the public regarding claims made by victims against Sean Diddy Combs and other alleged perpetrators where grape, essay, and exploitations are alleged. At the conference, lead counsel, so he's not the only one working on this, will release pertinent details regarding cases that would be filed on behalf of what is now well over 100 alleged victims. Details provided at the conference will include information regarding other potential defendants, information about the claimants themselves, where their alleged activity occurred, and what allegedly occurred. Mr. Busby also intends to share specific compelling stories of victims and take questions. Also, at the conference, Mr. Busby will discuss the various state law that applies, the venues where the cases will be filed, and expected next steps. Further, at the conference, Andrew Arsdale is the co-counsel and attorney for the AVA Law Group, and he will actually publish the SA hotline. And this is for witnesses or victims to call. All right, so y'all, please don't think that. Oh, let me finish reading. According to Busby, this is an important matter that we intend to aggressively pursue. We will leave no stone unturned to find all potentially liable parties, to include any individual or entity who participated in or benefited from the rigorous behavior. As we do this important work, we ask that the public understand it is very difficult and takes incredible amount of courage for victims to come forward. I ask that we treat these brave individuals with dignity and compassion that they deserve as they go through this trying time. Further, I'm also asking if you have been victimized or are a witness to the alleged behavior, please come forward. Your identity will remain confidential. Okay, so everybody sees this. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing that. Um, what I want to say and what I have been hearing is that there's no possible way that, it's 100 alleged victims, blase, blase, blase. Yes, there is. It is different when you are on this side of the field. Um, and when I say the field, the legal field. So, you have the paralegals, the attorneys, the staff, everybody on this side. So this is not uncommon. I have worked at a personal injury firm where we had to do sexual assault cases involving massage envy. Okay. If you're in Texas, I'm not sure how far massage envy that been instances where individuals, women, majority, have came forth and stated that they were assaulted. All right. Um, one of the county, I'm not going to call out well, I am because it's already done. Collin County, there were some instances going on with the officials. A class action suit was um, filed and it has now settled. Um, Look at the Travis Scott, all of those people that were at the venue that were injured. Okay, so it's not uncommon for hundreds and hundreds of people to come forth to make a claim. Now, as the staff, paralegals, the attorneys, the intake goes, yes, we have to weed out those who are just looking for a payday and have no type of evidence whatsoever. Yes, of course, we go through that process, but that is the whole reason why he said it is going to take time because right now they're at the intake stage. Okay, they're getting calls, they're probably getting emails, they're probably getting letters, and they have to go through. They have to conduct interviews with each and every last person. We don't know how long they have been working with the AVA law group or when they even started this process of having victims come and, make their claim. They could have done this months ago. They could have started this when even Cassie came forth and filed her lawsuit last year. We don't know. So this is going to be a process. So nothing that Attorney Buzbee or the ABL Law Group is doing is out of the ordinary. This is the process. So it is going to take some time. I am very, very excited to see exactly what's going to go. They've been busy. They've been real busy. So I'm following Tony Buzbee because, like I said, he's the attorney also on the Chris Brown case for the plaintiffs that were injured at the 11/11 tour in Fort Worth. Chris Beasley, my boy. Yellow Beezy is my boy. So, but at the end of the day, the plaintiff do have the burden of proof. They have to do their due diligence in order to show that they were injured and are entitled to damages. And far as Diddy case, I've always stated the rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper and deeper. It's way bigger than Diddy. It is way bigger than Diddy. Um, the thing is now is that a lot of things are coming out, and it's not just so the indictment was just filed. It is the civil suits that are fueling the criminal portion of this federal case. Every pleading that we have read, there's more detail about what happened at these parties, who was at these parties, and it's only a matter of time before more names come out. I don't think it's just Diddy, and we know that based off of what we have been reading in the pleadings, but to even go to Epstein, to Donald Trump, to Weinstein, even Kanye got some. Now Kanye ain't on. the Diddy stuff, but reading some of those lawsuits is kind of disturbing. So I'm gonna leave Kanye out of that. But as far as all the other stuff, Jacob the jeweler, it's crazy what is going on in Hollywood, and nobody is like, I don't know. And then we have Jaguar Wright, who has been, saying all of these things, that is happening. And my only issue with her is that if you have tapes, if you have evidence, why didn't you turn it in? This could have been nipped in the bud a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Going back to Epstein, the law in Florida failed those victims. Because if they would have, when they got him the first time, they should have nipped it in the bud then. But I don't know what type of sentence that was to where he can go to work and what? Really? But anywho's back on Diddy. So as I stated before, there's a case that has been filed by Jane Doe number 2. And let me retract that. It hasn't been filed. It has been submitted, but not have been hasn't been accepted by the court. Now, it does not mean that they're going to reject it because they think the contents within the petition is false. They look to see that everything is correct in the filing. Do you have a civil case information sheet? Do you show how much you're, seeking in damages? Did you properly, name the defendants and have, addresses to ensure that you can, serve them? Do you have the summons? So on and so it's more of procedural. It's not about the contents in the petition. It's the procedural when you submit a petition for filing. So I'm gonna pull that up. Um, let's see. So, and like I said, this is a disclaimer. It has been submitted, and it does show on there. There we go. So let me blow this up. All right. It doesn't have a file number or anything. Oh, let me go back to one. All right. So it does say this document has not been reviewed by the county clerk. Then it says this is a copy of a pleading filed electronically pursuant to the New York State Court rules, which at the time of this printout from the court system electronic website had not yet been reviewed and approved by the county clerk. Because court rules authorize the county clerk to reject filings for various reasons, readers should be aware that documents bearing this legend may not have been accepted for filing by the court. All right. So I've explained the reasons as why it would not be filed. Like they said, it's various reasons, but it's mainly of procedural. Okay. So this is the Supreme Court of Texas. I'm about to say Texas, Lord. New York. Here's Jane Doe. The defendant Sean Combs, Bad Boys, and so pretty thing anything that he's associated with. Okay. Passing the summons, and I'm going straight to the complaint. Now we already know who Sean Combs is, right? I'm just going to get into the factual information and the damages that this Jane Doe is seeking. Let's see. So at this time, she is an adult over the age of 18, but younger than 55. Hmm. Mhm. She is under the pseudonym because of the sensitive nature of the allegations of being SA'd. She fears embarrassment and further psychological damage if her identity as a victim of SA becomes public knowledge. This is so sad. This is so sad. Um Defendant Sean Combs LLC is a finance firm with its principal place of business in New York, and on information and belief is the financial entity used to pay Ms. Doe's expenses, including travel and accommodation. Okay, let's see what else we got here. All right, so here is the factual allegations. Now, everybody, just please know that anything in a civil matter is always alleged until it's proven. The discovery process where you collect evidence and you request and answer interrogatories and admissions, that's where you gather all of the facts and try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So everything is alleged. This is an action for injuries and damages suffered by plaintiff Jane Doe as a direct and proximate result of the defendant's wrongful conduct began in the fall of 2020 and continued to present. Jane Doe first met Combs in the fall of 2020 at an overseas location. So during COVID, she was invited on a trip with defendant Combs in which defendants paid for Jane Doe's transportation to and from said overseas location. Now this is crazy. Oh, overseas too? Oh man. In December 2020, Jane and defendant Combs met again, and in early 2021, they began seeing each other regularly. Throughout 2021 and 22, approximately once per month, defendant and or his employees, including but not limited to KK, where you been, girl? I need to see if she been served yet. They would arrange and pay for Jane Doe's travel to defendant Combs' homes in Los Angeles, New York, Miami, and other cities. She would also travel with him at his request, which defendant Combs and his employees and agents would arrange, and which was paid for by either Combs or one of his corporate entities. Jane Doe traveled to and with defendant Combs did not happen on her own volition. Defendant Combs and his agents and employees would use coercive and harassing language to compel her to comply. They would send drivers to her home to pick her up before she agreed to travel, to the point where Jane Doe did not believe she had a choice. So they just showed up and like, pack your bags, you coming. Or probably not even pack your bags. You'll buy clothes when you get there. That's crazy. Defendant Combs and his agent not only used language and tactics to force Jane Doe to act against her will, she was also unwillingly drugged with alcohol, unknown substances. In April of 2022, he forced her to have intercourse without her consent while she was at his Los Angeles home. In the spring of 2022, he was in Miami and she visited him. One morning she woke up and her feet were purple and bruised, and she had a bite mark on her heel. Jane Doe did not know how she sustained the injuries. Well, I hope she took photos. But then again, he probably like put your phone in a Ziploc bag. In July of 2022, Jane Doe traveled at defendant Combs' command to his home in Los Angeles. So you telling me, well, this had to be what, April, May? This happened and you went back? Well, I guess she felt like she had no choice. While in defendant's bathroom, Jane Doe was compelled to ingest an unknown substance. Jane Doe later learned it was or contained the drug ketamine or ketamine, however you say that, and or other substances, which caused Jane Doe to black out and lose consciousness intermittently throughout the night. That's crazy. Jane Doe did not consent to ingesting ketamine and or other substances. She took a pregnancy test. Whoa. Shortly thereafter, Jane Doe took a pregnancy test, which was positive. Jane Doe informed defendant Combs of the positive test. Caresha Brown Lee, defendant Combs' associate, harassed Jane Doe by repeatedly calling her and telling her to have an abortion. Jane Doe suffered a miscarriage and did not speak to Combs or his team for approximately 3 months. Late into 2022, defendant Combs resumed communication with Jane Doe and began compelling her to travel with him and to him. Defendant Combs would harass with Jane Doe through calls, texts, and third parties until she complied. At every visit, defendant Combs would make her perform a show for him and would ply her with alcohol and substances until she was passed out. She would wake up with bruising and injuries, but no recollection of how she sustained her injuries. This continued until July of 2024. Lord. In July 2024, defendant Combs commanded Jane Doe to his home in Miami. When Jane Doe arrived at his Miami home, defendant Combs shoved 2 pills in her mouth. During the July 2024 encounter, Jane Doe tried drinking water, but it tasted strange and it made her feel unwell. The next more oh my gosh, I need you Dow. Typo. The next morning, I think that's what they're wanting to say. She felt ill and confused and could not remember what happened the night before, and the bedroom was in a disarray. Throughout the 4 years, defendant Combs would consistently pressure Jane Doe, adding other men and women into the bedroom, despite Jane Doe being clear that she did not want others involved. Defendant Combs would continually prompt and pressure Jane Doe into using illicit substances and giving her illicit substances without her knowledge or consent. He would make threatening jokes that caused her to fear for her safety if she did not comply. She was forced to witness oh gosh, she was forced to witness him slap and abuse other women. On multiple occasions, Jane became aware that Combs and his agents and employees were tracking her location and monitoring her conversations, as he would refer to statements made by Jane Doe when he was not present. She began checking her phone after each meeting with defendant Combs. During their time together, defendant Combs would discourage her from working. When Jane Doe would attempt to assert her independence, defendant Combs would instead pay her an allowance, which he used to control her as she cut back on working. Jane Doe was afraid of what Combs would do if she said no. Defendant Combs and his agents at his request would record the encounters with Jane Doe without her permission. They caused her to have anxiety, depression, and fear for her safety. He continues to contact her in attempts to control her actions, anatomy, and would restrict her speech through harassment, intimidation, and other tactics. He has caused her to fear for her safety, and this is why she is requesting to file action under this pseudonym. Accordingly, she has suffered physical abuse, emotional abuse, trauma, injury, psychological damage, financial injury, reputational injury, and damage as a result of the defendant's intentional neglect, negligent, I guess I neglect, negligent and criminal actions. My gosh. So the first cause of action, he violated the Gender Motivated Violence Act. Second cause of action, essay and harassment. Yeah, he was in what? It says Miami, Los Angeles, California. Like you're forcing her to take these, ingest this stuff. Mm. Third cause of action, neglect, infliction of emotional distress against not just Sean, but also his agents, including, his chief of staff, that KK lady. Intentional infliction of emotional distress against Combs. Assault under the NY law against everybody. Mm. And they're doing it under California law, Florida law, which is common laws between all three states. Battery and S battery under New York law. Seventh cause of action, tampering with consumer product in the second degree. Yeah, so you tracking her. That's what I'm saying. So he was taking that's what he does. He takes their phones. I don't think they are allowed to have their phone with them. Like I don't watch too many movies, and I bet you as soon as they, get in a car, hand me your phone. And they can't get their phone until they drop right back off at home. Eighth cause, unlawful surveillance. Yep. She is demanding a jury trial. And let's see. She is praying for compensatory damages in an amount sufficient to fairly and completely compensate plaintiff for all damages, past and future, treble damages, penalties, costs, and attorney fees, punitive damages, interest, costs, and disbursements, entering judgment in favor of the plaintiff in a final order against each of the defendants. This was filed or submitted to the court on September 26, 2024. This is a couple of days after Graves filed her petition in court. And I believe hers, yeah, it was a couple of days after. Crazy. I I don't know any other way to put that. So, like I said, this has not been released because it's submitted. So the court just, for procedural purposes, they're just ensuring that everything is good before the county clerk accepts the filing. But if they accept it, then I know that it's going to come out. It's going to come out. I just be checking sometimes. I'll go through each of the court dockets to see if anything new popped up, and that is what popped up. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I'm telling y'all, the civil suits is what's going to help carry the criminal case. I strongly believe that. Um, oh, I did not mention, I seen something that stated that J Lo was on high alert. And I am wondering if this situation with Diddy put a wedge between Ben and Jen. That's what's going through my head. But they said that J Lo's team is just scrambling. I don't know what they scrambling for, because it's like, okay, J Lo, what do you know? She left Diddy and never looked back. If y'all think about all her past relationships, Mark Anthony, Ben Affleck, uh who's the baseball player, she backtracked some, but with Diddy, baby, she did not backtrack. She kept it moving. So I'm pretty sure anybody who have dealt with Diddy on a personal level, um whether it was business, whatever the case may be, everybody is getting subpoenaed and I'm pretty sure they are conducting interviews. And this is going to be a process. So this is what lawsuit? Once it gets accepted by the court, I don't lost track. Was it number 10, 11, or 12? I think this is the 12th lawsuit. Then you got about 100 plus more. Um Then you got the federal charge, like, bro, the federal indictments. Let me clear that up. Diddy's done for. But I think once they make an example out of Diddy, I don't even think I wait, I'm going too far into the future. Once they have interviewed everybody who needed to be interviewed and more names come out, they're going to have to amend it and I don't even know. When I'm thinking about the civil side of things, like all these civil suits, when more names come out, I believe that they're going to amend those petitions. But when it comes to the federal, it's like, okay, what are they going to do? Like, if they start naming people, okay, are the feds going to start going after them once they get more information? The rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper. As long as my kids are protected, my nieces, my nephews are protected, my sisters, any female, well, I don't know, because Diddy going after everybody. And it's not just Diddy. These predators, these, I don't know, these monsters. Unfortunately, we live in a world that it's just full of monsters, and I wish they can all go away. But we have laws, and I hope that justice is done on behalf of these victims. If you have been essayed, speak up, dial a hotline, talk to somebody. Don't hold that in. I am a victim of being um, abused as a teenager, but I have came to terms with it. It hasn't messed with me, psychologically. So, but for some people, it has really damaged them, and they live with that for years. I don't care who it is. I don't care how much money the perp has. Turn them in. Get justice done. Get the justice that you deserve. So, we've gone over Tony Buzbee. Y'all know who he is. He's a national trial attorney. We know the difference between a litigation attorney and a trial attorney. You want somebody that has stepped in the courtroom and do business, okay? All right. So you want a trial attorney. Then we have dove into the new lawsuit that will be coming out very shortly once this county clerk in New York accepts it. Jane Doe number 2. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, all right? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, be blessed, and I'm out. Bye.